Tournament where all martial arts experts clash against each other. A 17-year-old boy is unaware that he is a god with infinite powers. A 17-year-old enrolls in a fighting tournament and discovers that he has superpowers. Have you ever watched a tournament where people from all kinds of martial arts clash against each other? Grab your popcorn and stay tuned, because this is the story of today's anime, The God of High School. A politician and a martial artist named Mujin Park organizes a tournament named God of High School. The winner can have anything he wishes, literally. One of those invited to the tournament is the 17-year-old Taekwondo pro fighter Mori, who wakes up later on the first day of the tournament and rushes there on his bicycle. There, Mori gets to know the swordswoman Mira and the karate expert Han. Those three sound more like Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke. Anyway, all fighters are brought into the arena, and the announcer reveals that all the fighters are injected with nanoparticles to heal their injuries, no matter how fatal they are. The tournament begins with all fighters attacking one another in the arena, but the fighting stops when a criminal and martial artist named Kang is brought into the arena. Kang astonishes all the fighters with his strength, but is attacked by Mira after he steals her sword and humiliates her. Mori sneaks from behind, pulls his pants down, takes Mira's sword, and takes a good look at his underwear. Oops, somebody forgot to wear his belt. Mori and Kang go head-to-head against each other afterwards. However, that fight is interrupted when Mira jumps in and snaps Mori's neck, trying to take her back sword from Mori. Damn girl, it's just a wooden sword! On day 2 of the tournament, one-on-one battles start taking place. Kang will be battling Gamdo, a Tai Chi expert. At first, Gamdo kicks the crap out of Kang and sends him flying outside the ring, but things take a drastic turn when Kang gets back inside the ring, fights dirty, and wipes the arena's floor with Gamdo. Kang then humiliates Gamdo and asks him to beg, but Mori interferes, attacks Kang, and beats the crap out of him until he falls unconscious. However, Mori is then knocked out by Park, who arrives there just in time to punish Mori for interfering in somebody else's match. Park decides to exclude Mori from the tournament but changes his mind after finding out that Mori's grandfather is Taejin, the strongest Taekwondo fighter. Therefore, Park gives him a challenge. Go on a match against one of the strongest commissioners hosting the tournament. Before Mori leaves the building to go home, Park gives him a bag of fruits to improve his strength. Mori gladly and happily takes them, but Mori doesn't know the fruit is poisonous. Hold on, the man who's pretty much like your boss gives you a bag of groceries? Doesn't that sound suspicious? By the way, Park did it to whether Mori can survive after eating the fruits. Of course he can, he's the protagonist, he's the prophecy kid. The same night Mori gets home, vomits blood and faints because of the fruits that he ate. Mori awakens the next day and rushes to the tournament. After reaching to the arena for his match against Q, Mori is told that he only has to push Q to the floor in order to win. The match begins, thanks to the fruit Park gave him. Mori becomes faster and pushes Q to the floor in the first 5 seconds, winning the match. Embarrassed, Q summons a demon spirit known as Cherok and tries killing Mori, but he's soon stopped by his colleagues. A Cherok is a power borrowed from a god. Every fighter has a Cherok of his own. Some time has passed. It's the semi-finals now. Mira is scheduled to fight Han. Han goes to visit Suing-tae, his ill close friend, at the hospital. After seeing that Suing-tae's condition is getting worse, Han becomes super furious. The next day, the fight between Mira and Han takes place, and Han defeats Mira by beating her up severely, causing her to bleed. After the match, Han passes by Mori and promises to defeat him in the finals. Mori visits Mira. When the fight between Mori and Han starts, the two are a perfect match for each other. They astonish the crowd with their fighting skills. Mori knocks out Han. Instead of beating him up badly like he did with Mira, Mori shows him mercy, but Han takes advantage and knocks out Mori. As the referee starts the count to 10, Park approaches Han and informs him that his friend Suing-tae died of his illness. This makes Han deeply depressed, because the reason he entered the tournament is to win and pay for his friend's treatment. Now Han has no reason or motive to fight. This is why Han decides to lose and let Mori beat him up. While the fight was happening, Mira happened to pass by Suing-tae's room earlier when he died and found out he's Han's friend. After seeing their picture together, Mira shows up at the ring, interrupts the match, and gives Han a farewell letter that Suing-tae had written to him before he died. Mori reads the letter and it gives him hope. He starts fighting back with renewed will. Eventually, Mori delivers the final blow to Han and wins the match. This is Taejin. He's a Taekwondo expert and Mori's grandfather who had to leave him at a young age for unknown reasons. He sounds more like Jiraiya from Naruto. Anyway, Taijin is approached by a mysterious cult named Nox, led by a red-cloaked man called Mandeok, and is offered to join. After Taijin refuses, a fight takes place between them. After Taijin beats half of them, Mandeok unleashes an ultimate attack known as God on him, and the whole area explodes. Meanwhile, Mori has become the champion of his region. Now he'll be competing in a bigger tournament known as National God of High School. The top 3 fighters from each region will fight in a team against other fighters. Of course, Mori will be teaming up with Mira and Han. Park holds a meeting with the commissioners of the tournament and states that the purpose of this tournament is to see which fighter has the strongest Chariok. The key, the power of the Ninetales Guardian. He's also worried that Nox might attack them to get the key to use it to dominate the world. At the same day of the beginning of the national tournament, it is revealed that a Nox assassin named Drake kidnapped Commissioner Q. Before Drake laughs his evil laugh and tries to kill Q, but Q breaks free, summons his Chariok and overpowers Drake. Another 2 Nox assassins come to help Drake and attack Q, but one of Q's other fellow commissioners also arrives to help Q. A fight starts between the commissioners and the assassins. Eventually, commissioners overpower the assassins and the 2 Nox assassins escape, while Drake explodes himself to kill Q and O, but Q and O manage to narrowly escape. At the area where Nox fought Taijin earlier, Jin Taijin's cut-off arm was found, which indicates that he was either kidnapped by Nox or killed. No one knows. Again, this sounds like Jiraiya from Naruto after he died. The only part left of him left after his death is his arm. If you're enjoying the video so far, please smash the like and subscribe button. Later on, Mori is approached by another fighter from the tournament called Ilpyo. Ilpyo reveals that he met Mori's grandfather, Jin Takjin, who gave him a training guide book written by Ilpyo's grandfather. The two are interrupted when a fighter named Taek, Ilpyo's bitter enemy, attacks. Ilpyo blocks the attack and tells him to piss off. Taek does so with a sinister smile. The next day, Mori wakes up and finds an anonymous letter at his door. It contains a picture of his kidnapped grandfather, with no arm along with a map indicating his location. That sounds like a trap. Mori uses the map and manages to locate his grandfather. However, this turns out to be a fake clone of his grandfather that explodes right in his face afterwards. I told you it's a trap. The man who caused the explosion shows up. His name is Long, and he's hired by Taek to kidnap the fighters who participate in the tournament and replace them with clones that look exactly like them, to make sure no one notices that they're missing. He does all that in order to find the fighter who has the key. Now that Mori doesn't have this power, Long decides to kill him. Long then summons his Chariok, which sounds like Naruto's clone jutsu, and attacks Mori. Mori holds him off and defeats him eventually. Meanwhile, at the national tournament, Mori's team is scheduled to fight. Mira and Han notice his absence. A commissioner tells them if Mori doesn't show up, they'll be excluded from the match. However, after Mira defeats her muscular opponent from the other team, she falls to the floor from exhaustion. Just then, Mori finally shows up, just in time to fight the opponent scheduled to fight him. The next team Mori and his friends will be battling is Ilpyo's. After Han defeats Ilpyo's teammate, that's Suenga, Mori will be fighting Ilpyo himself. During the fight, Ilpyo figures out Mori's weakness and gets the upper hand. However, Mori changes his fighting style and copies Han's and Mira's fighting styles. This allows him to knock out Ilpyo. Still, the fight is not over yet. After Ilpyo has a moment of divine inspiration, he awakes his Chariok, Nine-Tailed Guardian. This is the key. It's what Nox wants to find to use it to dominate the world. It sounds more like Naruto on Sage Mode. At the same time the fight was happening, Park confronts Mandeok while his followers attack the city, looking for the fighter who has the power of the key. While talking to Park, Mandeok summons the same ultimate attack he used on Taijin earlier and tries to destroy the city. But this attack is stopped thanks to Park's ally Seal, and the city is saved. After Ilpyo awakens the power of the key, he beats the crap out of Mori. However, Mori has a moment of divine inspiration too, and awakens his Chariok, which he uses to turn the match to his favor, and win the fight eventually. Park has Ilpyo taken to the hospital and places him under security to make sure no one steals the power of the key from him. However, Taek attacks the hospital to take Ilpyo's powers and hurts all of Ilpyo's friends. After seeing his friends beaten up, Ilpyo attacks Taek. Mandeok uses his powers to open a gate, summons some beasts, and has them attack the city. Now that the holder of the Nine-Tailed Guardian is found, Park announces the end of the God of High School tournament. After all, the purpose of this tournament is to find the Nine-Tailed Guardian and protect it from Nox. With his Nine-Tailed Guardian, Ilpyo furiously beats Taek, but Taek uses his real power, manages to knock Ilpyo out, and take the key out of his body. The key falls into Mandeok's hand, but Mori punches him and takes the key. To make sure no one takes the key, Park teleports Mori and his friends into a faraway place outside the city. Taek also teleports there and starts fighting them to get the key. Meanwhile, America finds out about the situation, and in order to save South Korea, it launches some nuclear missiles on the monsters. Jason, another one of Ilpio's allies, teleports the whole population in South Korea, shatters the American missiles, and combines them into one big missile, which he directs at Mandeok. A big explosion happens, and South Korea is wiped. Shortly after the explosion, Mori, his friends, and Taek are teleported back into the wiped-out city. The key falls into Taek's hand. After Taek takes the power in it, he turns into a god. He sounds more like Madara in the Six Sage mode. After Taek overwhelms Mori, Mira, and Han with his attacks, he gets the chance to stab Mori, but Han saves him and takes the hit instead. This triggers Mori's memory, and Mori remembers that he was actually a god named the Monkey King. As a result of his memory, Mori becomes a god with many great powers. Mori attacks Taek and gains the upper hand. Along with the help of Mira and Han, Mori finally defeats Taek. After the end of the war, Mori meets with another one of Park's allies, Kim, who asks him to wish for anything he wants. Mori wanted to wish for his missing grandfather to return, but he changes his mind after seeing that some of Ilpio's friends are missing limbs. One without a leg and the other without an arm. After he wishes for their limbs to return, Ilpio faints from exhaustion. After 3 months of non-stop sleep, Mori is visited by Mira and Han. The season ends with the three deciding to go to the Monkey King's original place to recover more of his memories as a god. And if you're not sure about your true identity, this will be solved when you subscribe to the channel.